Yeah, so your traditional PBMs have that what we call vertical integration. It all goes up and down, but the money stays within those entities. So they own their own pharmacy, they have their own prior authorizations, they do their own manufacturer revenue. It's all within, in addition to the spread pricing. So those dollars never leave that vertical integration. They all stay within that traditional PBM setup. But at the end of the day, the employer's costs are what continue to go up in that type of setting. They don't want to look elsewhere, because if they look elsewhere outside of that integration that they hold and contain and own, then ultimately they're going to lose revenue, and it's going to put vulnerability to their revenue at their bottom line at the end of the day.
Yeah, to me, this is one of the biggest problems in healthcare, is that these big entities are starting to basically control the entire supply chain, which means that they're setting the prices overall. You mentioned spread pricing. I want to give the audience just a quick definition of what that means. And the easiest thing I can relate it to is guys and girls, they're buying drugs for $5 and they're selling them for 10, right? And so that difference between 5 and 10 is the spread that they're making money on. And it's very unclear where those dollars are actually going, how much they're actually making. There's ways to get after that data, but that spread pricing is exactly how they're making money. So think about that. The bigger the spread, the higher the cost, the more money that they're making. They're just naturally incented for the cost to go up. On top of that, we think about, there's medical loss ratios, which kind of dictates that, insurance companies can only have 15 cents on the dollar for profit, but a lot of these hidden revenue streams within the prescription drug side don't even apply to that. So they're making all this extra money on the side. So how does that differ from, you guys are a transparent PBM, right? How does the revenue change there?
Yeah, revenue transparent is a very broad term that's used in today's state. But ultimately, when you have revenue that's going outside to the employer's benefit, then it's not a transparent PBM. You, as an employer or a client, should be able to account for every single dollar within the PBM space. You can see a line item, one, having that access to your data. I'm very passionate about that, but full access to your data to see where every dollar is going is really the ultimate goal, because then you can see on a spreadsheet of where your dollars are going, how you can control those dollars, making future planning. But no ownership in pharmacy is very important. That's one thing TrueScripts prides ourselves on. We're pharmacy founded, so we always felt that was a conflict of interest. But when you take out all of the outside bundles and looking at if they're paying someone else to do a performance that PBM could ultimately be doing, their eyes not on the prize of the employer, their eyes on the prize of revenue on the back door that ultimately they're benefiting from the end of the day. So if you take all that into account, there's really not a whole lot of transparent PBMs out there.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a red flag, and maybe a tip for the employers on the phone here, is like if you have, number one, if you even have a pricing sheet from your pharmacy benefit manager, and you can get after what fees the pharmacy benefit manager is charging. If they say they're not charging any fees, that's a traditional PBM. They're making their money through the spread pricing. So that should be a red flag to you. If you're not seeing like a per employee per month fee for services, or a per script fee for services, or if that per script fee is really, really low, like less than $2, like you're probably in a traditional PBM arrangement.
Yeah, one of my favorites is $0 admin fee. One of the things I took away from high school is there's no such thing as a free lunch, and a $0 admin fee is a perfect example of that. You're paying it somewhere. It just is not on the admin fee line in which is being shown.
Yeah, I see that with like just regular renewals as well. I get a fully insured renewal that's a 0% increase. That tells me that there's probably more opportunity than just to keep it flat.
Absolutely.
So yeah, typically a red flag for me as well.